From a social policy perspective, there are several things that the new workforce should make policymakers think about and that are going to be issues. One issue that I'm very concerned about is that we're not training people in how to engage in this new labor marketplace. Many of the education systems, many of the individuals teaching schools still work from a platform that there is a right way to work, and they think that what they're preparing students for is how to be a good employee. Unfortunately, we don't need as many good employees as we used to. What we need is a generation of those who are capable of managing their own career. We need to look at the curriculum in our secondary and post-secondary systems and say, are we preparing people well for the new work styles? Another issue that I think social policy makers need to look at is the whole benefits delivery system. We have made, in many countries, employers the equivalent to social welfare agencies. Depending on the country, employers could manage anything from unemployment insurance to access to health care, disability, worker retraining. There's no end of social responsibilities that governments have essentially outsourced to employers around the world. But when people don't work in a traditional employment mold, they often fall in between the cracks in terms of how these aspects of social welfare are going to be delivered. There is a need for governments to look at how are they choosing to engage their workforce in terms of these social benefits, and how will that be redone in a world in which the majority of people don't work in traditional employment. A policy issue that I'm very concerned about is the retraining of a workforce. I remember that my parents used to talk about how you could go to work for one employer, do one job, and retire 40 years later having done that same job. Today, job life cycles have shrunk to the point that the ability of a job to exist in its current form, in its current location, is about 3 to 4 years. How do you rapidly retrain a workforce? And in fact, the better way to ask the question is, how do you give the workforce access to retraining so they can keep themselves employable? Unfortunately, we've raised several generations of workers who have been trained to believe that it's the responsibility of employers to retrain them. In fact, in today's world, it's the responsibility of workers to retrain themselves. How will we enable that should be an important aspect of social policy.